plant hormones regulate plant functions. Hormones are chemical messages. They are made in one part of an organism, and also they can stimulate or suppresses activity in another part. Meaning is hormones are made in one part of you and will have to be moved to some other parts of you to carry out some functions in it. If you want to give a definition of hormones, a hormone is a chemical. It's a chemical messenger produced in one part of an organism that stimulates or suppresses activity of cells in another part. The meaning is it's been made in a part of your body and it's been moved to another part of you to carry out some other functions in it. So we need to know also the examples of hormones that helps to be released in response to the environmental changes. For example, if an environment it has a drastic change from the way it was before, there could be a release of an hormone in a response to that drastic change in the environment. All this can also be released due to some internal changes that are part of the plant's life cycle. So we have four basic types or four basic groups of plant hormones. They are one, gibberellin. Gibberellin are plant hormones that produce dramatic increase in the size. And what it does is they are involved in germination. They help in the rapid growth of young seedlings and the rapid growth of some fruits and flower stalks. So, and also they help to end seed dormancy. In the previous class, I explained in detail what I mean by dormancy. So, means the end of being dormant is what triggers that is gibberellin. It helps to end the seed dormancy. It also helps to make a rapid growth of the young seedlings and a rapid growth of some flower stalks. So all these things are being made or are being made to happen by the plant hormone called gibberellin. This is an example of the way it carries out its functions. And also another one is ethylene. Ethylene might sound like a chemical, which we learned in organic chemistry, but actually is a plant hormone that helps to cause ripening for fruits. Some fruits pick before they are ripe, and they are being sprayed with ethylene to ripen, which when they reach their destinations. Sometimes the farmers, they might decide to pluck the fruits before the ripening time, and because they have to move the fruits for a far distance before they get to the destinations. So as soon as they get to the destinations, they spray the fruits with ethylene to allow the fruit to get ripened. So when they're ripe, then they're ready for sale. This is an example of fruits, and that what makes them to ripen up, the way we say, is the job of the ethylene. Another type of hormone which we have is cytokinin. Cytokinin is it helps to stimulate cytokinesis. Cytokinesis is the final stage of cell division, as we already learned before in cell division in mitosis and meiosis. They are also involved in the growth of, they help in growth of the side branches or lateral growth. So sometimes when the plant is growing, after some time it needs some branches on the side of it. So what helps in the growth of all these branches is cytokinin. And also what they do is they help in the final stage of cell division. They've been produced in growing roots, seed, and fruits. And also they are involved in growth of side branches So we have a question for you. Now think about this. Pause the video a little bit and think about what the answer of this question will be. If you started your own plant nursery, and you want to have a plant, you have a small nursery, explain two ways you could use different plant hormones to your advantage. I mean, how do you want to help yourself to use the plant hormone to help yourself to have your to have a lot, to have more yield of your food. Think about what the answer is, and you could control the growth patterns by spinning growing tips where auxins are being made, where auxins are being produced. So, but for now, let's talk about auxins before we get to this, before we come back to this question. Now, another one is the auxins. The auxins, they help to lengthen plant cell in because they are the location of this hormone is at the tip of the plant itself. So, and they involve in the lengthening of plant cells produced in the growing tip. They also involve in the growth of the primary stems. If there is a stem that needs to grow, means that the basic stems that grow, they are involved in it. And what they do is they stimulate growth of primary stems. They help to control some forms of tropism. Tropism is a movement of plants in response to an environmental stimulus. The environmental stimulus could vary. It could be sun, it could be water, it could be light, it could be gravity. So whenever we find a plant reacting or responding to the environmental stimulus, is being controlled by the auxins. So we're going to go deep into tropism. We have different types of tropism. They are one of them is phototropism, and the name, as the name indicates, photo means light. This is a response of plants to the direction or towards the light. So it says phototropism is a tendency of a plant to grow towards light. Now, as we see, if you have a plant in a place, let's say in a room, you will notice that the plant will decide to grow toward the direction of the light, means it's going to go toward the direction of the light. So the ability or the tendency of a plant to grow towards the direction of light is called phototropism. Also, auxins build up on the shaded side of the stem, and the cells on shaded side lengthen, means they become longer than other ones. Then they cause the stem to bend towards the light. Another one is phygomotropism. Phygomotropism is a plant's response to touch-like stimuli. For example, it's involved in the climbing of plant vines, in the sideways growth of plants that are regularly exposed to wind or one direction. For example, if you have some plants that we call them climbers, if you allow the plants to have a contact with a stick or a stalk, before you know, the plant will start climbing up. The plant will climb up the stick or the stalk. So the plants that grow in direction of constant wind, for example, let's say you always have a wind blowing in the same direction at all time. Due to the contact of the wind on that plant, the plant will decide to go towards the direction of the wind. Another one is gravitropism. Gravitropism, as the name indicates, is gravity. Gravity means is a force that pulls things to the center of the earth. So when you say gravitropism is a plant response to the earth's force of gravity, the pull of gravity. During the germination of plants and vines and the sideways growth of plants, they are regularly exposed to the force of gravity, and that allows the root system to go deep into the ground. For example, when the plants are germinating, you will notice that all the shoot will grow up and the roots will grow downwards. So the reason why this happens is because of gravitropism. Gravitropism is a positive gravity is a positive reaction of plant roots toward the force of gravity. And also we have negative gravitropism. That happens when the shoot decide not to grow toward the direction of the force of gravity. So we also have some plants that have a rapid response, not involving growth. Some plants have rapid responses, not involving growth. Examples are plant responses protect plants from predators. We sometimes we have plants like they respond to any reaction that have around them, or if predators come around, they decide to shrink up themselves or decide to protect themselves from these predators. So some plants have very rapid responses that do not involve growth. These rapid responses can be adaptation that helps them protect plants from predators. Or in the case of Venus flytrap, which we all know, what happens is they respond rapidly because the plants tend to respond to anything that touches the internal part of it, and this is the way it also get its food. For example, if a frog decide to fall into that place, which we've seen before, you will notice that the plant, the frog, will be captured. And that's the reason it says some responses allow plant to capture food. So they will capture the animal, and they use some chemicals inside them to break down the animal into smaller components, which can be absorbed into the plant body. And also, plants can respond to seasonal changes. Sometimes we have a longer day, and sometimes we have a shorter day. So in response to this, we call that photoperiodism. Photoperiodism is a response of light. Photoperiodism is a response to the changing length of day and night, and it triggers some plants to flower because when the environment changes or when the season changes, so it triggers some plant to release flowers, and also it triggers fall colors or winter dormancy in deciduous trees. So now a question for you is, what stimulus causes each of the following tropism: phototropism, gravitropism, and thigmotropism? So if the question you can answer yourself, so try to pause the video and give an answer for it. Now, if I'm going to give an answer for you, it's going to be, for example, phototropism is light, gravitropism is gravity, and thigmotropism is touch. So this is all I have for you, and I think it's quite helpful. Thanks for listening.